Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I invite you to watch and listen to the Designing Hollywood podcast, brought to you by Martika Ibarra and the great, legendary Hollywood costume designer, Marilyn Vance. I am afforded the wonderful opportunity of co-hosting the show. If you are interested in the magic of Hollywood, the design of Hollywood, the clothes of Hollywood, watch the Designing Hollywood podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts from, or find the video version on YouTube. That's right, the Designing Hollywood podcast. Why would you ever want to miss it, especially if you love the movies?
Tango Shalom is now available on all VOD
major platforms. I think we messed that up.
Video on demand, or as they say in the trade, VOD.
VOD. Tango Shalom is now available on all VOD platforms,
which means
video on demand.
Look how you know. You must be a high school graduate.
I'm a college graduate.
Really?
Yes.
I got an honorary degree from Hofstra. Did you get an honorary degree?
No, I got a degree.
Oh, well, I got honorary. You know, I'm in the Jewish Museum.
What for?
What do you mean? As a famous Jew in the Bronx. I'm in the famous...
I'm in the Prospect Park in the Stones.
How big is the stone?
Observations with Robert Meyer Burnett.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it's I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, Robert Meyer Burnett, and this is the Hollywood Half and Half. Whether you're on the half shell, on the half pipe, or still half in the bag from last night, this is your 30-minute blast of entertainment news in the morning. As long as you have a nice big cup of joe, and in my case, I have it with half and half. It's a damn fine cup of coffee. Let's jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings, however you identify across these 28 known galaxies. The Matrix. The Matrix Resurrections. Say what you want about the Wachowskis. I'm a huge fan of the Wachowski siblings. Yes, I even own Jupiter Ascending on 4K. I know, right? I do it unapologetically. The Matrix Resurrections has been cleared for China release. There's no date set. This comes to us from Deadline. Nancy Tartaglione reported this morning. Warner Brothers' Village Roadshow's highly anticipated The Matrix Resurrections has been cleared for release in China. However, an exact date is yet to be fixed. Warner's official Weibo account posted the news, saying the film is confirmed to be introduced and it will be released in theaters nationwide soon. The fourth Matrix installment, both a reboot and a sequel, begins early off-show rollout December 16th with domestic and the majority of international markets starting December 22nd and through the Christmas frame. Matrix 4 is currently the only Hollywood title thought to be on the China docket, although there is speculation that Sony's Spider-Man No Way Home will also make it to Chinese screens. If Resurrections squeezes in before the end of 2021, it would be a welcome addition in a year that has seen fewer Hollywood titles than is typical in the Middle Kingdom. China has confounded of late, taking a pass on potential hits from Hollywood, notably Marvel movies, which traditionally have been catnip to local audiences and recently accepted movies that were already available elsewhere. For example, after 2 weekends, Disney's Jungle Cruise has grossed just $5.6 million in the market, where Dwayne Johnson is a draw. Given the lag time, piracy was a factor. China certainly doesn't need the money that big-ticket Hollywood titles are capable of generating. Its homegrown tentpoles are doing very, very, very well. The country's film administration earlier this month outlined its 14th five-year plan for the development of Chinese films, which gives them plans to increase the number of movie screens in the country to 100,000 screens by 2025. Along with that, the regulator will be promoting 10 domestic tentpoles each year. As of mid-November, China had passed RMB 43B, or $6.7 billion in box office, led by the war title, this is a Chinese movie, The Battle at Lake Changjin, which is currently, it's over $890 million. That is some big bucks. Well, folks, I, of course, am a huge fan of the Matrix movies. I don't care. I love the Matrix. I liked Matrix Revolutions, and I thought Matrix Reloaded was pretty damn good. I like it, and I'm not gonna tell you wrong. I love the fact that this movie's coming out. I think it's gonna be weird and meta, and I can't wait to see it. Hope it does well. I really, honestly do, because who doesn't want it to be good? Next up, The Weeknd. That's right, The Weeknd, the musician, is doing an HBO drama. That is right. The Idol, a drama starring and co-created by the Grammy-winning artist, has landed a series order at HBO. The Weeknd, whose real name is Abel Tesfaye, I think, created the series with his producing partner Reza Fahim and Euphoria creator Sam Levinson. Amy Seimetz, who did The Girlfriend Experience and Atlanta, is set to direct all 6 episodes of the show, which also stars Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp, and Vanessa Paradis' daughter. The Idol has also rounded out its cast with Susanna Sohn, Melanie Liburd. I can't even pronounce the rest of the name of these people, but lots of people are in it. And Anne Heche. When the multi-talented Abel, The Weeknd, and Sam Levinson brought us The Idol, it was clear their subversive, revelatory take on the cult of the music industry was unlike anything HBO had ever done before, said HBO programming VP Francesca Orsi, shortly after the brilliant duo of Joe Epstein and Amy Seimetz joined forces with the rest of the team, and this dream became a reality. In development since the summer, The Idol is set against the backdrop of the music industry in Los Angeles. It centers on a self-help guru and leader of a modern-day cult who develops a complicated relationship with an up-and-coming pop singer. Details on other cast members' roles are being kept under wraps. In addition to his multi-platinum selling music career, The Weeknd previously co-wrote and did voice work on a 2020 episode of TBS's American Dad. He also appeared in Uncut Gems. So that's pretty exciting. It sounds pretty interesting. Maybe a little hint of Scientology in there. One never knows. Now this next one, Ridley Scott is blaming millennials for the failure of The Last Duel at the box office. Ridley Scott doesn't have one regret. By the way, this comes from Salome Hailu, and this was in Variety. Ridley Scott doesn't have one regret about his direction or Disney's promotion of his 2021 historical drama, The Last Duel. The box office failure is a result of young people and their cell phones, he says. Now, Ridley, come now. The director, known for commercially and critically successful films such as Alien, Thelma and Louise, and The Martian, appeared on comedian Mark Maron's podcast, WTF, on Monday. Among the topics discussed was The Last Duel, the film Scott directed from a screenplay by Nicole Holofcener, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon, based on Eric Jaeger's book of the same name, which only made $27 million worldwide despite carrying a $100 million budget. No, Disney did a fantastic promotion job, Scott said, when Maron implied the company may have been the reason for The Last Duel's low performance. The bosses loved the movie because I was concerned it was not for them, but they really liked the film, so their advertising, publicity, etc. was excellent. I think what it boils down to is what we've got today are the audiences who were brought up on these fucking cell phones. The millennials do not ever want to be taught anything unless you are told on the cell phone. Scott continued, this is a broad stroke, but I think we're dealing with it right now with Facebook. There is a misdirection that has happened where it's given the wrong kind of confidence to the latest generation, I think. Maron said that he thought the time period and action in the film would have been a draw for younger audiences. I agree with you, particularly with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver, and this new girl called Jodie Comer. That's the call you make. That's the call that Fox made. We all thought it was a terrific script, and we made it, Scott responded. You can't win all the time. As far as I'm concerned, I've never had one regret on any movie I've ever made. Nothing. I learned very early to be your own critic. The only thing you should really be happy is that you have an opinion on what you just did. Then you walk away and make sure you're happy, and don't look back. That's me. In 1982, I made a film called Blade Runner. It was my third movie. Pretty fucking good, he told Maron. I was killed. I was killed by film critic Pauline Kael, who didn't even meet me. She had never met me, and I suddenly read this article in The New Yorker, which is a very classy magazine. I read it, and there's a 4-page series of insults. I framed it. It's in my office right now. I never read criticism. I never read critiques ever again, Ridley Scott added, because she was so wrong. I was just way ahead of her. Well, Ridley, good for you, sir. I've been a fan of yours since I saw your first movie, The Duelists, which is another movie that took place in times past. I thought The Last Duel was a very fine film, but I don't think you can blame millennials. I think that, we all are just looking forward. No, I don't know why the movie failed. It's kind of strange that it did fail, but you can't blame millennials. Studio filmmaking is changing. It's much more spectacle. I can't tell you why this movie failed, but I don't think it was the fault of the millennials. I blame them for a lot of things, but I don't think the failure of The Last Duel is one of them. Of course, I could be wrong. What do I know? Here's an interesting story. So, James Bond, for those of you keeping score at home, and I know you are, No Time to Die may be the year's highest-grossing Hollywood movie, but it could still lose millions. Rebecca Rubin and Brent Lang reported on this for Variety. Over the weekend, No Time to Die eclipsed 730 million in global ticket sales, making the James Bond sequel both the year's highest-grossing Hollywood film and the top-performing film at the box office since COVID-19 appeared on the scene and nearly shut down the movie business. The action-packed spectacle, which endured several coronavirus-related delays, has become the rare pandemic-era box office hit, which is even more impressive considering adult audiences, the core demographics for No Time to Die, have been reluctant to return to theaters. However, the movie cost more than $250 million to produce, at least $100 million to promote, and tens of millions more to postpone over 16 months. And insiders say No Time to Die needs to make closer to $900 million to even break even, a feat that would have been realistic had a global health crisis not entirely suspended the theater industry. As a result, the film now stands to lose $100 million in its theatrical run, according to sources close to the production. Other industry sources suggest the losses wouldn't quite reach the 9-figure mark, though they could be substantial. MGM, the studio behind Bond's latest adventure, disputes this math. In a statement to Variety, the company insisted No Time to Die didn't just break even, but was a moneymaker. Unnamed and uninformed sources suggesting the film will lose money are categorically unfounded and, put more simply, not true. MGM spokesperson said in a statement, "The film has far exceeded our theatrical estimates in this time frame, becoming the highest-grossing Hollywood film in the international marketplace and passing Fast 9 to become the highest-grossing Hollywood film since the pandemic. With the PVOD release of the film already doing stellar home video business, all the while continuing to hold well theatrically, No Time to Die will earn a profit for MGM, both as an individual film and as part of MGM's incredible library." In any case, the potential losses illuminate the harsh reality currently facing big-budget films. Becoming profitable, at least in the theatrical run, is uncommon in the best of times and basically unfeasible during a pandemic. No Time to Die is far from the only tentpole to lose money while the movie theater industry struggles to recover. Marvel's superhero epics Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and Eternals, as well as Suicide Squad and Christopher Nolan's Mindbender Tenet, all stand to finish in the red with losses in the tens of millions. Nor are these the biggest box office debacles of the COVID era. That honor, unfortunately, would likely go to 20th Century Studios' The Last Duel, a historical epic that stars Matt Damon, Adam Driver, Ben Affleck, which cost more than $100 million to make and promote, and will lose more than after that eked out a paltry $27.4 million. It's a total wash for the studio and a sign of how dead on arrival most films that don't feature special effects, super spies, or superheroes are at the multiplexes these days. Oscar contenders such as Spencer, Belfast, and King Richard are all struggling to attract crowds despite glowing reviews. Well, my thoughts on that are it's sad. But the thing is, if you look at a movie like No Time to Die, it is hugely expensive. There is a ceiling with which even Hollywood tentpoles should shy away from. And I would say $250 million is pushing that, because normally the conventional wisdom is nowadays a movie should make 4 times its negative cost, or 4 times what it costs to make, to gross. A $250 million movie needs to gross $1 billion. And to set out and try and make $1 billion, I think is irresponsible. That's just me, though, because how are you going to win that one? That's a tough one. But I'm obviously a big James Bond fan. I hope it all works out. It'll be interesting to see if they make more James Bond movies after this. It does say James Bond will return. Who knows? Who knows? This next one, Kevin Spacey back in the news. House of Cards producer wins a $31 million arbitration against Kevin Spacey. An arbiter has ordered Kevin Spacey and his companies to pay nearly $31 million to MRC, the production company behind House of Cards, after finding that Spacey breached his contract by violating the company's sexual harassment policy. MRC severed its relationship with Spacey and scrapped a season of the show in 2017 after multiple people came forward to allege a pattern of sexually predatory conduct. MRC filed a petition on Monday in Los Angeles Superior Court to confirm the arbitration award after the award was upheld in a confidential appeal. Spacey and his companies, M Profit Productions, M Profit for Mel Profit from Wise Guy. Boy, I'd love to see that get a 4K release. And Trigger Street Productions were ordered to pay $29.5 million in damages, plus $1.2 million in attorney's fees, and $235,000 in costs. Yeah, not good. Not good. Well, on another note, on a more positive note, for you fans of Outlander, that's right, Outlander sets its season 6 return date. Rosie Cordero talks about this in Deadline. Outlander will return with season 6 at 9 p.m. Sunday, March 6th, across all Starz platforms. The news was revealed by Diana Galbondon? Is that how you pronounce her name? Author of the Outlander book series the historical drama is based on, at Monday's launch of the 9th book in the series, Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. Season 6, based on the book A Breath of Snow and Ashes, picks up after the events of the 5th season that saw Claire Beauchamp return to Fraser's Ridge after escaping a violent encounter with Lionel Brown. She and her husband, Jamie Mackenzie Fraser, are now striving to maintain peace and flourish within a society which, as Claire knows all too well, is unwittingly marching toward revolution. Against this backdrop, Claire and Jamie have built a home together at Fraser's Ridge and now must defend it as it was established on land granted to them by the Crown. Well, that's exciting. Outlander Season 6. One of the producers on that show, of course, being Ron Moore of Star Trek The Next Generation and Battlestar Galactica fame. So, for all of you fans of that show, it's coming back. And there you go. This is kind of out of left field, which is kind of cool. Good Morning America co-anchor Michael Strahan to join Blue Origin space flight. This broke this morning at 6 a.m. Good Morning America, Deadline reports, Ted Johnson reports for Deadline. Good Morning America co-anchor Michael Strahan will be on the next Blue Origin space flight as a crew member. He announced on the show today. The flight is scheduled to take place on December 9th. Quote, I believe that this is the way of being innovative, creative pioneers in aviation and now space travel, Strahan said on Good Morning America, and it's going to take a while, but I do believe that it will bring a lot of technological breakthroughs and also innovations to us here on Earth. And I just want to be a part of it. Good Morning America ran a feature segment on Strahan's preparations, which he said started 2 weeks ago. The segment also featured mention of other private space ventures, including Elon Musk's SpaceX and Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic. He said that he was invited to be a member of the crew and will receive a stipend which will be donated to the Boys and Girls Club. Last month, William Shatner flew on Blue Origin flight and at 90 became the oldest person ever to go into space. The next flight, to again launch from West Texas, will include 6 crew members. Among them is Laura Shepard Churchley, the oldest daughter of Alan Shepard, who in 1961 was the first American to fly into space. The Blue Origin rocket is named New Shepard in honor of the pioneering astronaut. This will be the 3rd Blue Origin flight this year. Owner Jeff Bezos flew on Blue Origin's first human flight in July. Strahan covered Bezos' space flight in July, and Blue Origin, they approached me and they asked me if I wanted to be a crew member, Strahan said, adding that he quickly said yes. Pretty cool. The more astronauts, the merrier. That's what I say. I certainly would like to go into space. It's definitely a dream of mine. I don't know if I'll ever realize that, but I'd go. Send me, put me in, coach. Now, this is a little weird. This is right up my alley, but I'm not quite sure what this is. All I know is I want to see it. Max Goldbart reports on this. BBC Two and PBS greenlight a War of the Worlds style hybrid drama and a hybrid drama documentary on alien life. A hybrid drama documentary on alien life. Don't quite know what this is, but I'm in it. I'm in. Count me in. Anything to do with alien life, I'll watch it. And if it's got doctors trying to figure out, it's like the Andromeda strain, that kind of shit, I eat that up. BBC Two and PBS have commissioned a War of the Worlds style hybrid drama documentary that spotlights a near future in which extraterrestrial life has been detected. See, that right there, I'm a little confused. War of the Worlds means life just isn't detected. I mean, they're coming out of like Grover's Mill in their spaceships, frying priests with death rays. So I don't quite know what that means. First Contact will combine real documentary interviews with some of the world's most foremost scientists alongside a fictionalized narrative written and directed by World According to Jeff Goldblum director Nick Stacey. BBC Studios' Science Unit, which was behind Netflix's BAFTA-winning The Surgeon's Cut and BBC Two PBS's The Planets, is once again collaborating, which actually I watched The Planets, so I kind of get what they're going for here, but sounds good to me. Leading scientists now believe there is a genuine possibility we will shortly detect extraterrestrial life, and the show will profile the latest in cutting-edge technology while featuring contributions from the likes of Dr. Jill Tarter, a pioneer who was the inspiration for Jodie Foster's character in Contact, along with showcasing the James Webb Space Telescope. That's, of course, the brand new telescope that's going to replace the Hubble, that is going to let us see farther into the universe than we ever have before. Executive producer Andrew Cohen, who produced a BBC Horizon doc almost 20 years ago about a future pandemic that he said was heavily criticized at the time for scaremongering, revealed his team has been planning to make a show on extraterrestrial life for some time, and the pandemic made it feel more timely. This is being made in the shadow of a pandemic that has thrown up themes around what it's like for a planet to feel a deep existential uncertainty, he added. The audience is now more primed to explore these issues than it was even 2 years ago. Cohen said there's an almost aggressive confidence in global factual at the moment that has made his team comfortable in producing the show in a hybrid drama documentary style. While crediting the streamers in part for this development, he said First Contact builds on the chutzpah of his team's recent BAFTA-nominated 8 Days to the Moon and Back, which used innovative lip-sync techniques to recreate the 1969 moon landings and also aired on longtime collaborators BBC Two and PBS. In the past, factual TV could be quite nervous and back-footed, but now, if there's a story we want to tell, then we will find a way to tell it, he said. This is about story and how audiences want to be immersed in amazing storytelling. The 90-minute film was commissioned by Patrick Holland, BBC Director, Factual Arts and Classical Music Television, and Jack Boodle, the head of commissioning, Science and Natural History. Elsewhere, the pandemic has also increased viewer appetite for science, added Cohen, whose department has made recent fast turnaround BBC docs on COVID-19. Trying to compete with the news cycle in documentaries is almost impossible, but we can add depth and insight. I don't know, it sounds cool to me, and if it's anything like the Andromeda strain or something like that, I will watch the heck out of a show like that. This next bit of news comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Nocterra, a comic book series from Image, is being turned into a new Netflix show. Netflix continues to pad out its roster of comic book titles. The streaming giant is teaming with writer Roberto Patino to develop a series adaptation of Image Comics titles Nocterra. The drama, which is in development, marks the first project to stem from a new multiple-year overall deal. Patino, who worked on Sons of Anarchy and Westworld, has signed with the streaming giant. Patino, who currently serves as showrunner on HBO Max's upcoming DC Comics adaptation DMZ, will create and develop new projects for Netflix via his Analog Incorporated production banner. Nocterra, penned by Scott Snyder and Tony S. Daniel, is a sci-fi adventure that revolves around Val Riggs, a ferryman who relays people and goods through a world enveloped by a lasting darkness that turns the living into monstrous creatures called shades. Patino will pen the script, serve as showrunner, and exec produce alongside James Wan, Michael Clear, and Rob Hackett. The ease, honesty, and profound creative support I've found in Bella, Peter, Matt, Alex, Andrew, and Kenyatta has been nothing short of ideal, Patino said of the execs at Netflix. Netflix is an extraordinary champion of intellectual and inclusive storytelling, and I'm eager to use this opportunity to tell bold stories that properly represent the Latinx community in entertaining, exhilarating, and powerful ways. I couldn't be happier to call Netflix my new home, and I can't wait to hit the ground running with Nocterra, my boundary-pushing friends and partners at Atomic Monster. Since losing Marvel a few years ago, as Disney shifted its prized content to its own streaming platform, Netflix has continued to seek out other comic book titles to fill the hole. The streamer has deals with the likes of Dark Horse Comics, who make Umbrella Academy, and Mark Millar's Miller World banner, among others. The passion, vision, and world building that Roberto Patino brings to all of his projects is incredibly exciting. Coupled with his undeniable voice, style, and deep commitment to uplifting inclusive voices and points of view in his storytelling, make for a powerful combination that we are thrilled to embrace and share with our members around the world. So that's exciting. What I like to see about that is that more indie comics are getting the spotlight, which I think is great. We now have our friend Julius Goodwin. How you doing, man? It's been a while. Julius says, has COVID completely destroyed the viability of the movie industry? It seems we might never see billion-dollar movie box offices, even with the MCU. Well, Julius, there is a behemoth on the horizon coming out in less than a month. Spider-Man. Spider-Man No Way Home. I think if any movie can make us, if something can sail over the billion-dollar mark, the worldwide box office, Spider-Man, Spider-Can, doing whatever a spider can. I think that might happen, but you're making a good point. Look, I think we're going to see sort of maybe a bit of a contraction with Hollywood budgets. These movies are wildly expensive, but I think we'll see. I mean, my favorite movie of the year so far, to be honest, was Tick, Tick, Boom. Lin-Manuel Miranda's musical that it's streaming on Netflix. I loved it. It's right up my alley, and I felt like finally, as much as I love comic book movies or big genre tentpole blockbusters, I still like to see real films that, well, touch my soul, and Tick, Tick, Boom was definitely one of those. But, I mean, none of these movies are making money. They're not. Even the MCU films, I mean, they're maybe they'll break even, but, we're not out of the woods yet. Look what's happening in Germany right now. We've got to get back to a normal, or maybe we're watching a new normal. A sea change is happening right in front of us, and budgets will contract. But Hollywood, like life, will find a way. So I want to thank you for sending in that tip. I'm going to be back this afternoon on Robservations. I will be with Kevin, the comic doctor, who's got another giveaway. He recently gave away a slabbed Eternals #1, rated at 8.0. We've got some more comic giveaways, and he sends them right out to the winners, so don't worry about that. And that brings us to an end of the Hollywood Half and Half for today, Tuesday, November 23rd. I am Robert Meyer Burnett, and remember, if you're on the half shell, the half pipe, or still half in the bag, this is your place to come for a 30-minute blast of entertainment news to go down with your cup of joe. Thanks for being here, everyone. Very much appreciate you watching the show. And special thanks to Greg Smith and my moderators. And Dean Mikitich. Thank you, guys. Sorry I forgot to thank you live on the show.